Dylan, contribute, buddy. Come on, man.
Yeah,
Come on,
all
man.
right, and I guess that's our intro. Hello, everybody, and welcome to another wonderful movie review. This week we watched The Witcher: Nightmare of the Wolf. This was my pick this week.
Such a good
I'm
pick.
joined.
Dude, I enjoyed your pick. Oh my god. I didn't know this is your pick. Oh, this is so good. What a turnaround, Marcus.
Well,
Sorry.
I was like, no, it's cool. I was thinking, man, we've watched a lot of live action movies, and I was like, I'm getting tired of looking at people. I want to be happy. I don't want my movie to be 3 hours long anymore. Oh wow, this movie. The Witcher. Oh, this is great. And that's
Yep.
that's what happened. Um,
That's a great way to pick things. I honestly
yeah,
man, I that was so good. It was such a good choice. I'm glad you did that.
I'm glad you liked it. We'll get into that, but first off, hello. I'm Mark and Cheese. I'm hosting today because this was my pick. I'm joined here with my one friend.
Hi, I'm his one friend. Been there since day one. Yep. Uh, you got Cog CG, otherwise known as Carlos.
Hello, Carlos. And
Hello.
you may have noticed by the initial introduction, Dylan is not here.
Beefy!
Beefy is very sick. So far he's fine. He just cannot make it on the mic. And Beefy is sick when he says that he cannot physically drag himself to the gym because he just does not avoid working out in any fashion.
In
So,
any way, shape, or form, ever.
yeah, when he texts me, I haven't gone to the gym. I feel like shit. I'm like, oh, it's bad.
It's really bad.
Yeah.
It's got that swine flu. Yep.
Oof. Yeah. Anyway, he sent me his thoughts, so once we get to the end here, I'll be able to read out his score and what he thought, and as well, he sent me what his movie pick is for next week. Yep, if you're not familiar with the format, like Beefy says every time, first we give our non-spoiler review. We're going to talk about the movie in general, after which we'll give you an initial score and a spoiler warning, and then we'll get more into detail about the movie. So, did you want to go first, Carlos, since you actually liked my movie this time?
If you want to offer that up to me, I'll take it. It
All
was
right.
all right. So I'd like to say that The Witcher, I want to start with I know nothing of The Witcher. I've never played a Witcher game. I've
Mm-hmm.
had the Witcher series with Henry Cavill, which I'm a big Henry Cavill fan. I've just wanted to watch a Henry Cavill show for so long, and it's been on my
The
list
man
for
is
a while.
delicious.
And now I'm sad because he got recast, but it's okay.
Yeah.
Um,
I don't
yep,
know why everyone hates Henry Cavill, like all the directors. They just say, thank you for making my property better. Now get out of here.
right. It's not like he made the best Superman movie we've ever had to, and now is being
We're not bitter.
ostracized. We're not better at all.
We're
No,
not
it's fine.
bitter.
It's fine. Bring back General Zod from his movie, but don't bring back Henry Cavill. All right, it's okay. We're not bitter. It's okay.
Yeah, no.
Yeah.
Not at all.
But
Anyway.
back to the point. So the Witcher, Nightmare of the Wolf. I thoroughly enjoyed it. I found myself really into the story of it. I didn't know, like I said, I don't know any background in these characters, so I don't know if they
Mhm.
exist previously. I had no idea where this was going. If this was like an obvious, everybody knew what this was going to be, who these characters were going in. I knew nothing. So this was just a really good movie for me in general. Um,
Yes.
I liked the story of it. I liked where it was going. I liked the overall theme of it. I
Mhm.
love the love interest, even to a certain extent. Was like you'd think that you'd have that, like, oh, that's kind of weird, but it wasn't really that weird because it kind of made sense the way that they placed
Yeah.
it, and they were like,
I
oh.
I really liked it.
And by the end of it, I'm not gonna lie, I almost shed a tear.
I
So
did.
I was like, oh, it was, you have that moment where like everything turns out, he does that for, yeah. Oh
Yeah,
my
yeah.
god, yeah, such a good moment by the end of it, and then the end of it. Now I'm not completely oblivious to what The Witcher is in general. I
Mhm.
know who the main character of The Witcher is.
Mhm.
So I'm like, oh yeah. So I was genuinely like, huh, weird. There's no white haired Geralt in this. If that's how you
Yeah.
pronounce his name, which I'm assuming that's how you pronounce his name. Um,
Yeah,
yeah,
everyone tries and everyone says it different. Where they're like Geralt, Geralt, Geralt. Like, You just fucking go
I've
for
heard
it.
it so many ways. I just said
Yeah.
Geralt and hope that it stuck. All right, so
Yeah.
thanks for not attacking me for it, bro.
Yeah, anytime.
Yeah. So, any idea what it's actually supposed to be, or?
I don't fucking ask me. Do I look like?
It's okay then. We're going. I'm going. With
I
what
love
go
the
with.
character. I love the games. I actually read one of the books too, but nope. Don't ask me how you're supposed to pronounce his name, because it would be a fucking argument where someone says they know definite certain this is what the author said, and then someone else will argue with them, going, "No, this is how you pronounce it." Like, all right, whatever.
Fair enough.
Not important.
Fair enough. Yep, I understand though. It makes sense to me. Yeah. So the story was great. I liked it. I thoroughly enjoyed it. This is one of my favorite movies that we've watched so far. I will go as high.
Mm-hmm.
I was a little scared going into this. That I figured by the start of this when I started talking to you and seeing where you guys were at. But I'm just gonna go based off my gut. I want to give this an 8. I would have gone to a 9, but I was really nervous about like. Man, if it wasn't
I
for
don't
not
know.
knowing any lore behind The Witcher,
Go with your gut. Go for the 9.
I'm going for the 9. I'm
right.
going for the 9. Fine, then,
Okay.
yeah, I appreciate it. Yeah, I want to give it a 9, guys. I'm giving it a 9, is my initial
right.
thought.
That's your initial thoughts. My initial thoughts are, this movie was fantastic.
Yes.
You're like, yes, he didn't hate it.
I did it.
Nothing made me happier than seeing an animated version of these characters, because they can really show how powerful these mutants are, where they can just fucking fly around and the magic is so powerful and he's just fucking slicing shit with his sword. Like Naruto jumping off of trees and cutting through things. I'm like, I love this. I want more of this.
The final fight scene.
It was so good.
Versus the inevitable bad guy of this film. Who,
Yeah,
yes, we
like-
knew who it was the whole time, but at the same time, like, they set it up so well. And that fight scene, just everything about it was, oh my
Yeah,
god,
and
everything's
it's like-
beautiful.
That was something I appreciated, was even when some twists may have been predictable, they were well executed, so it wasn't ever not enjoyable.
Yep.
And it didn't go on for too long. It didn't feel too short. It felt like everything got wrapped up just in time. Even all the small little side plots. I appreciated that this movie was about who it is about, because this is a character in the games as well.
Oh, he is?
Yes.
Oh, dope.
Yeah. He's I don't remember how early on they say his name, so I also don't want to say it until we get to the spoiler part, just for the sake of it's like maybe 10 minutes in, but I don't want to give it away, so when they say it you're kind of like, oh, that's him. So but yeah, seeing this character in this time frame was fantastic. I loved everything about it. I loved how they made his character in this. He was so great.
I love the flashbacks. That's something I didn't mention, but the flashbacks.
The flashbacks were great.
The flashbacks that kind of led, and they were side by side, or they kind of like shifted in between in mid scene, were so well executed. I was like, this is so good. I didn't even, at first, for some reason, I didn't know that was, but we're going to get more into that. Yeah.
Yeah. And the music. The music was just beautiful. It was on par with the games. It was, because it sounded like you were just watching an animated version of The Witcher, because it was just perfect. I felt like they captured everything. It was beautiful. The animation was wonderful. The backgrounds were great. The characters looked good. The characters sounded good. Voice actors were good. Music was great. The story was great. I loved everything about this movie. Carlos, this is a channel record. This is the first movie that I want to give a 10. I love this movie.
Wow.
I
The
love
lore
this
helped. The lore made it better? Well, that never happens. What?
This movie
And you know
was
what I
so
mean?
good.
Like, the lore never helps. You know what I mean? The lore never helps out our scores. Oh my god.
Yeah, no, there was nothing that happened in this movie that pissed me off. I was just happy the whole time.
That's
So-
wonderful. And here I was thinking that the lore is what brought me down to it. Oh, man. I'm so glad. Thanks for telling me to go with my gut.
Yeah, of course. So, everyone, you're being currently warned now. If you have not watched this movie, please go watch this movie.
Please, we're telling you, actually,
Yes.
turn this off. Go watch The Witcher: Nightmare of the Wolf. It's literally less than an hour and a half, and
Mm-hmm.
this is gonna take up less than an hour of your time, but so will less than 2 hours of your time in that case.
Yeah.
Go spend your time with that first. Enjoy
And then come
it.
back.
And then come back
afterwards.
and nerd out with
Yeah.
us and be happy about how good this was.
It was so good.
So good.
This is honestly better than the series. Like I like the series. The season 1 was really good. This is way more entertaining. If there's a fucking animated show about this, I would be happy, because I remember thinking, Castlevania. I watched Castlevania on Netflix, and that animated series was great. And that's what the related stuff was. The Witcher.
It was related to it. Yeah,
and I was like, holy shit.
Castlevania was on the related stuff in The Witcher. Yeah,
yes.
So it was there too, and I was like, that's on my list now, because if it's related to this, I want to see it. You know, so
absolutely. All right, so you've been warned. Spoiler territory. Now we're gonna talk about everything in the movie in depth. We love this movie. Here we go. What I wanted to tell you first off, Carlos. So yes, this character is from the games. Vesemir is we call him Uncle Vesemir because he's a great guy. He is he's Geralt's teacher. He is the I didn't play the first Witcher. Shame on me, but I played 2 and 3. And he's such a great character because he is the perfect mentor through the games. He's such a likable character. And he has that air of, like, he knows that he's been there, where, you know, the player has, as you're going through the game, being all, like, gallivanting. I'm going to go party and have it, because how else are you going to play the game? You want to have a good time. And he's clearly speaking from experience, and I love the way that they portray this, while him also still having a good head on his shoulders and being, like, because he's a very moral forward guy, where even though, you know, it's like, the Witchers rip everyone off, he still helps people when they're in trouble. So it's like, yes. I was very happy with everything about him.
Which you could see with, I think his name's Phil Evandrel. You could see with Phil Evandrel, Phil, he just calls him Phil in the movie, but
yes.
The elf, that he's like, hey, he's the reason why he's like, hey, can you help me? And he's like, I mean, that's not really my thing. I don't, you don't get the reputation I have and earn the big bucks for what I do by helping out ones and twos, helping out elves, doing the small stuff, and then having that theme tie in at the end, where by the end of it, where he tells Tetra or Gilchrist, I don't know what you want to call her, but tells her later on, like, I'm not gonna kill this little girl, this little elf girl who's been like gene spliced and stuff. We're not gonna kill her.
Yeah.
Out of a favor, because there's the whole tie-in of, I need a favor from you, which at the start Phil asks him for a favor, and he's like, no, my status is higher than that with the Witchers. I earn money that I do because I don't give favors. Hell no. And then by the end of it, he's like, I'm doing you the favor, dude. Get out of here, take your people, but I will come find you if she kills anybody. And oh my god, it's such a good.
And just the fucking lines are so powerful in this movie too, where then he's like, if she does, Phil Evandrel is like, if she does, I will end her myself.
And I'll be waiting for your sword. And I'll be waiting for your sword.
And I was like, that's so good.
I'm like, the respect. I hate to always compare every high elf I see as a Legolas character, but like, it's so hard not to. I'm sorry, but it's so because there's that moral. There's like that
it's a
compliment. Area. It is, because Legolas is Legolas is so perfect. It's so perfect. The man walks on trees and like skips from one to one. Just the way he gallivants across trees and shoots people at the same time, shoots orcs at the same time. Woo, done. Over here. But Phil was still. I think we could have actually got more of Phil. I would have liked more of Phil, like to see him actually fight and stuff. Like, I know we got the reasons why, his character was just kind of there to save the elf children, but I would like to see more, but that didn't take away from the movie at all, though. It really didn't, because it wasn't about him. It was about this moral dilemma, and this, not even dilemma per se, but moral growth that you see in Vesemir, and I absolutely enjoyed the moral growth that we saw in this character. Character development in a movie a character-driven movie like this
Yeah.
is always gonna hit with
Shocker,
me.
you know?
Oh my god!
Almost like character development and character growth is important.
And they did it in less than 2.5 hours. DC and Marvel, get your shit together.
Exactly. Like,
Jesus
please.
Christ. You don't need 2.5 hours of a movie to show me someone grow. I saw him from a time he was a kid to the time he was a grown-ass man, killing people, and going to become a good person. Well, technically a good person, morally,
Yeah.
at least become a moral compass in a way, by the end of an hour and a half. What is... You guys have like 2-3 hour movies that you can't accomplish that with one character, let alone like 2-3. Oh my god.
Yeah, you mean one character off of 3 movies and then we're gonna reset it for some fucking reason. Fucking Marvel, man.
Hey, DC's not exactly like they're not scot free on this.
Oh, no.
They're not.
DC's just a mess in general. Marvel used to have his shit together. That's
Pick
why
your
I'm
Batman, damn it! Pick your Batman.
Oh, yeah. But I like that the time frame this took place in too, because it's there's a lot of talks in the game about when all the elves and everything was hunted down. Basically, to give you some context, the humans killed off most of the other races. The elves, pretty much anyone who's not human, they hate. Mm-hmm. They're all treated as second class citizens, and they also hate the Witchers because they're also, you know, fucking mutant whatevers. But they only tolerate them because they are good at killing things that kill the people. So they're like, all right, we'll just kind of be nice to you, but we still fucking hate you. Because you watch the first series of The Witcher, you see how they just still try to pick fights with them, even though it's incredibly stupid every time.
Yeah?
Yeah, they just don't, like, the humans are extremely racist in this world. They really are.
I mean, you could tell that from the movie. So from the movie, because like I said, I haven't watched any Witcher at all. So this is zero.
Okay.
This went from 0 to 100 for me, for real. I was like, oh, this is so much greatness. What have I missed out on? I don't know if this was kind of the perfect segue into this world for me. Kind of like what Cyberpunk was hoping would happen with Edge Runners. Like, hopefully now people see how great this series is, and they want to play the game. I want to now play these games because
they're great.
Was so good. They're so good. And I'm sure Henry Cavill did it justice.
He did. He's wonderful.
He's Henry Cavill, man. That's like, it's the next Ryan Reynolds. What do you mean? That's... They can do no wrong. Okay, point is, we sorry guys. One day I feel like we're gonna all just decide we're gonna have a Henry Cavill day. It'll happen. We're gonna just talk about great Henry Cavill moments, but not today. We kind of sprinkle them across episodes. But honestly, that is what got me about this too. Is that it brought me into that point where I now want to play these games. So like, I could see that they were racist. Humans are very overtly like, oh no, they're different. Kill them. You know?
Yeah,
like,
they almost entirely wipe out the elves in a genocide. The Filavandrel, he's actually important later on. He becomes the leader of the Free Elves as things progress on in the Witcher series. So
more character development.
More character development.
Oh, you gotta love it. Yeah. So I also I can't seem to find any questions I had about it because I didn't really have any questions about it. They very well explained the lore of The Witcher, the Witchers, and like, I'm telling you, I was so shocked to see that this was only an hour and a half by the end of it because I was like, I feel like we got a very in-depth description of, like, explanation of what the Witchers are, how they were created, what the big bad guy in this here is for, which in the end turns out to just be more of a once again moral conflict of, we don't like you guys because you're different, and we found out that you guys are doing something horrible to these other people who we also wiped out. And there was a line in here that they said a couple of times. It's like monsters fighting monsters. And it's great because Vesemir had told it to Tetra, who's turns out to be the big bad of the movie, right?
Yep.
Shocker when you realize that she's one of the humans who's a very strong, powerful witch, which, once again, linking back to what you said earlier, Marcus, was amazing how they showed her powers.
Oh yeah, it was so cool.
Amazing. When even he was like, well, you shocked even me when they were in the forest, and she's like, you know, show us what we're missing. Like, show us, and basically remove the spell that was happening where she couldn't see anything. And they're like, oh, it was an illusion the whole time. He's like, wow, you're strong as shit. Like,
Yeah.
oh man, but yeah, it was a strong. She was a strong enemy. It was. You could tell that it was an accomplishment to beat her by the end of it.
It was. I really appreciate, because all of the Witcher stuff has like a specific overarching theme. Where I left off, so basically, there's gonna be a weird cut there, to explain for everyone else. My computer crashed. My point I was making was just that I appreciate, for everything Witcher, there's always this important moral overarching story or just something going on that they're trying to tell. Thank you. You just a coherent story that has more to say other than just shit's happening is all I'm trying to say. It's like, God, it's not that hard to just write some decent story, but this is good writing, and I'm just so happy. So happy.
Yep.
Just so happy.
It's so sad how very few people understand. Like, it's a very simple thing to come up with a love story, guys. It's very simple. You don't have to. It doesn't have to be overdone. Make it very simple. Oh, okay. They were both servants, basically working for food and shelter. All right, cool. Then another kingdom. Then one day the queen got sick, or the first lady of that little village got sick, and he encounters a witcher. The witcher comes in and is like, "Oh, I can heal her." Now this guy, from a point of power to this little kid, obviously is going to seem cool. Now this little kid, at the time Vesemir, right, is looking at this guy who later we know as Deglin. Deglin, I might be pronouncing that. Yep, Deglin. Looking at Crump. Yep, just looking at Google, seeing that's correct. And
That's him.
And cool, Deglin, just big dude. He's a witcher, and he tells him, he's like, "You're not ready for this, kid." While later on, he's like, "You knew damn well what handing me coins is," but he hands him some coins, and he's like, "Here's for the, basically just help me out finding this job. I hear she was sick.
Right.
Thanks for helping me out, kid. Here you go. Here's some coins. Don't follow me. You can't become a witcher right now." So naturally, the kid, knowing that he wants to become a witcher now, because he has more money now than he had ever in his life, with those 2 coins, eventually becomes a witcher. So he has a whole thing where there's a love story with him and this girl, Ilyana, and she's a little kid just like him, and it's wonderful.
Yeah, and because I just want to say it's important because, fuck, there it goes. My train of thought, it's leaving again. Oh, choo choo. Bye, Thomas. I'm being a real diesel right now.
It's okay. Well, so they were sharing their dreams and aspirations with each other, and her dreams or aspirations were just basically, I want to live on a lake. And she says, I want to live on a lake. I want to have a husband and 2 kids playing jacks, playing game nearby. I want to see a beautiful lake. I want to have a house right there. And that comes into play later. Like, it all comes together. It's a very simple story. And he's like, I just want more. I always want more. And it's one of those things that you can relate with so easily, where if you come from a place of hardship, you are innately, you're going to be like, I deserve more than this. My life is nothing right now. I want more, and I'm always going to want more. And then as he gets older, you see that there's a reason behind his greed. And then you see when he becomes a witcher, going through all these trials that are intense trials to become a witcher. And it's all these other little kids like him. And he's the only one that, like, come to realize, volunteered and actually got there of his own volition. Like, he's the one that wanted to be a witcher. And everyone else was either part of this, like, I forgot what it's called, but it's like the
law of surprise.
The law of surprise. There you go.
It's an important thing because that's what revolves around the 2 main characters in the actual, when I was talking about Ciri and Geralt. So.
Yep. The law of surprise, which is basically, if you can't pay for the Witcher's services, they will take your kid and train them as a Witcher. And they'll become a Witcher if they pass the trials, right? And he's the only one of his group of kids, this whole class of kids, like a little bunch of orphans, that chose to be there, and he realized that very quickly. And that basically that greed that he has from never having anything, now he's like, all I'm here for is to make money and become a, to be in a better place in my life. And you see how that shaped him as a person. So then later on, like we said, that character development, when he's shaped by it all, and then eventually runs in and he sees things like when Phil is like, you don't do anything for favor. You wouldn't do favor for a friend. You can't call it as a favor for a friend. He's like, I do things for a high amount of money. I've earned my spot, and I don't do favor.
Yeah.
It brings it back to that character development. They keep hitting it on the head.
Yeah, he learns things are more important than money. I love that you're just explaining what I was rambling on about because I'm tired and I can't think, and I really appreciate it.
Of course, man. I genuinely enjoyed this movie.
It was so good.
I might move it up to a 10. Oh, God.
I love this movie.
This movie was so great.
When he runs into his love interest again, because Witchers basically don't age anywhere near as fast as people do. Same thing with sorceresses. Tetra's probably also really old.
Probably, yeah.
Just side note. But yeah, when he runs back into her and he's just like, no, you're just as beautiful as the day I met you. I'm like, oh.
I was like,
oh. He's got a heart of gold. I love this man.
With her, it immediately was like, oh, he's a kid again. He starts thinking about her and like this can't be that little girl who I shared honey cake with, like there's no way. But I'm so happy
tears were ready.
Her.
They were coming. And
they happened eventually.
They did.
What? Yeah, to which I will say, the one issue I always have with these things is just when you give us back what the hero needs the most, you guys always need to take what the hero needs the most away from us, and it hurts so much more. But I know it's good for character development.
It is,
because it hurts.
It's such a burden when we have characters that exist in a story, and when they've already served their purpose, they're just still around for no reason.
Yeah.
And they're like, okay, she did what she was supposed to do. She taught the main character a very important lesson throughout this movie. Well, time to go. Time to go.
But it was such a good run, though. It was honestly
was.
An hour and a half. You accomplished what I can't even think. Thor has had 4 movies. Thor has had 4 movies. I am not a Jane fan.
No.
I'm not a Jane fan, and Thor's had 4 movies. All right.
I mean, was she even in all of them? I don't think she
was. She was in 3 of the 4. She wasn't in Ragnarok because it was solely based on. Well, no, it wasn't solely based on. You know what I mean? Though she wasn't in Ragnarok, but she was in the last one. She was female. She was Lady Thor. Like, I get it. Yeah, it was a lot.
Yeah, I avoided that movie.
She died at the end, so spoiler.
I'm so sad.
I was like, this does not feel as grounded as it should. This should be like one of the saddest deaths of all time, according to like how big Thor is in the Marvelverse.
Yeah, but they keep. The fucking director for that movie, dude, it's just everything was a joke. All of the clips, it was just a joke the whole movie. It's like, no, there are a thing. If you want to have serious moments in a movie, the whole movie can't be a fucking joke.
I agree, and I think that's why even from the trailers, I was like, I'm not gonna like this.
Yeah. But yeah, and the way that they circle back at the end, dude, they make her death perfect, where he takes her out to a lake, to the lake house. At the
frozen lake. A frozen lake. It's
sad.
The coolest scene. He's cool even when he's doing this. It's almost perfect. It's like the most. If she didn't die, it would take away from it a little bit, but it's probably the most perfect thing I've seen. It's a frozen lake. He uses his powers, like burns it all, and like heats it up, and the ice melts, and then you just see a beautiful sunset on the horizon of the lake, and you're just sitting here like, oh, and she's against the rock. She's like, I think she says, what? It looks too beautiful to be real, and I'm like, and then she dies in his arms and bleeds out, and I'm like,
Dude,
ah.
I was so sad for so many. I was even sad to see Declan go because he realized that he fucked up. But you can, because that's how you do when someone is being bad. They're like, he's not the main bad guy, but obviously he did shitty things. He made mutant monsters for the sake of I want to continue to get paid. But when you write a character well, where you make their motivations understood, that he cares about these Witchers, he thinks of them as his children, his boys, and he's like, I need them to have work, otherwise they're going to come for us and kill us all. We still need to be important. And it's just like, I still feel for you even when you're the bad guy because you're well written. This is why in so many things villains are people's favorite characters, because if you do it right, it's just you like the character because they're relatable.
It even seemed, and I might be alone on this, I didn't want to like Tetra, who was a witch, but like
Right.
I didn't want to like. I wanted to like her at first. I was like, okay, what if they're about to do? Because I thought, okay, well, he never went back and found love with Ileana. She's not gonna pop up, you know. And I was like, what if they do a thing where like he ends up with the young girl, you know, he ends up with Tetra, and like what if they do that and they like make her realize through fighting with side by side with him, like fall in love. And I'm like, they would do that. I mean, people do that all the time, right? There are odds, and now
I
they're
feel
in love.
like
That's how it works.
Yeah, I feel like that was kind of teased in some scenes too on purpose because Geralt ends up with a sorceress. So it's just kind of like making more parallels. Like, hey,
Oh, that's funny. I didn't know that. Yeah, I'm glad I saw that then, because I was like, I feel like, are they teasing them being like coming around each other and being like, I actually like you, because that's a love interest that could happen. And it would be like, makes sense. He ends up with a sorceress. All right.
Yeah,
Cool.
that's what I like about the games too, is because there's two different ones, so you pick which girl you end up liking more throughout the games, because they're both very well-rounded, interesting characters. I like the Witcher universe. It's interesting. The monsters are cool, the powers are cool, the people are cool, the setting's cool, the music's great, and the action, just the fluid sword fighting motions and everything is so beautiful. It Even the anime captures, they're always talking about how sword fighting is like dancing. It's a dance, and it's so important to your footwork and everything when you're fighting. And they just captured it well in this movie too. It just made me so happy. Oh, it was so pretty. I wanted to watch him cut things up all day long. He was so good at it. He was so good at it. And I like the way that they did all of his sigil powers. I would have liked to, if anything, I would have liked to see him use the other sigils, because he only used Axii and Igni the whole time, which Axii's, I think that's Axii. That's the Force one, and then Igni's the Fire one. And then they have another one. What's the? I forget what they're called, because there's like the hourglass looking one where it's like if your monster or whatever steps on it, it slows them down for a moment. And then they have another one that's kind of like Jedi Mind Trick is another power they have, basically. Yeah, so they're just really cool.
Okay. Well, that sounds dope. I'm definitely also now gonna just. I second that. Then I'm definitely also into the Witcher universe. I don't know. I just haven't seen something so well put together before. Like, not like this, you know? Like, it felt like there was going to be a deeper lore, and I know there is lore out there because of the games that have happened and the series that's already happened up to this point. Like, and there's more series to come. It's just, yeah. I definitely thought watching this, like, I was like, this is just so well put together, and I'm sure the lore probably takes away from it in a way, and it didn't.
Yeah,
so I'm shocked.
it respects
I'm really
the
shocked.
lore, and it's like the whole. If anything, I was like, oh, maybe people would be irritated by, oh, we're gonna mutate monsters, we're gonna create things that don't actually exist. But it just none of it bothered me. It was all really well done. It was very interesting. At the same time, I was just like, yes, I appreciate everything. The way they were creative with it was great. And that's when you want to tell a story, but you want to do something different, is you respect the source material and you build off of it. That's how you do that. It's if you don't do that, you piss people off. Halo.
Is that the series you're talking about? Yeah, the
Fucking
I think Paramount did it. Is Paramount the one that did it? Yeah.
Fucking
So you just
worse.
don't like that at all.
The most atrocious adaptation of anything I've ever seen. So fucking bad.
Was it cool though? Did it look cool?
No. There was nothing redeeming about it at all whatsoever. It's trash. Hot garbage. Next week, we're watching the Halo TV series.
You're not gonna just lead off with this and then be like, nope, no.
No,
Oh man, no. I did want to say before we get to our final scores, did you said at the start that you did have something from Dylan, right?
Yeah. I'll do his review last after our scores.
Okay. Did you have anything else that you wanted to wrap up? Did you kind of want to say anything you want?
But Vesemir's a badass. He's just the coolest guy around. I wish he was my uncle too. Uncle Vesemir, the greatest guy.
Agreed. And also, I can't give credit enough to the way that they flash back. I've seen it done so many times, so many ways of showing you the main character as a child, and then the main character now, and switching back and forth. There was a solid 20 minutes in this movie where they did that, and I was like unbothered completely, and I was like, it's so good. I didn't even realize. I was like, I thought this was like that. I didn't even realize they had the same name. Like, I don't know why, but I just zoned out for it, and I was like, this character as a kid is so dope. And then I saw that they switched into him as an adult, and I'm like, it's the same guy. This is his backstory. I didn't even think that was so obviously right there, Carlos. Oh no, but it's so good. And then they show Deglin as an older man, and I'm like, it's him. Oh, he's like, that's so good. He's like, his uncle now type ish, So it was just such a great experience, and honestly, I more of this. Of this.
Like, as a fan of the series, it was the coolest thing, too, to see why. Because in the series, there's like 5 Witchers, It's just Vesemir and those boys. They're the only Witchers left. And I'm like, well, why? They talk about the Siege of Kaer Morhen. Fucking getting to see it was great. I'm like, yes, thank you. So, yeah. I have nothing else to say other than I could ramble on about, yes, I love this. 10. 10, please? 10. This movie is a 10.
I'm gonna bump this up from a 9 to a 10. I don't know, but hearing that the lore actually helped it for the first time, I can't stress enough, guys, I don't hear that often enough, where I know nothing about. I really often don't go into movies that have backstory not knowing anything about it. This is one of those cases where I did watch something and I'm like, wow, I didn't know anything about it, and it doesn't feel bad going in. It felt great. And hearing from Marcus that the lore actually makes it so much more like put together, and it's even better with the lore, it's a 10, man. It's a 10.
That's why they don't say his name until he's a kid there. You're just kind of like, oh, this guy's badass. Who is this? And it's like, Vesemir, and you're like, no!
Yeah! When they say him as a kid, oh my god! I was like, oh, this is so dope! Because then you're just rooting for this kid. I was like, it's just a dope story of a kid that wants to become a... I was like, this is clearly not Geralt. I knew it wasn't him. I was like, looks nothing like him. This is not going to be the main character from Witcher. No.
And I'm glad that the movie, they didn't try to like shoehorn it like being about him or anything. They just added a little Easter egg at the end for fun. Like,
if we didn't go over that, so Geralt turns out to be there's a group of little kids that had escaped from the big battle that happens, where they eventually kill all of the Witchers, except for Vesemir, who gets to escape with his lady until she dies, and then when she does die, he goes back for the kids, the 3-4 kids that did survive, and one of them is bald and was helping his friend up and is like, we can keep going. And he's like, here's some money, kids. Either come with me now or, go on. But I'm telling you, this is basically telling him this is the decision I had to make. Like,
Yep.
you can do this too. And he's like, come on, Geralt. And I'm like, oh, he did. He said the thing. It's him.
He said the thing.
I'm like, he said the thing. Yeah. It's like hearing Marcus say, my tomatoes. Like,
My
yeah,
tomatoes.
it's the thing we were looking forward to while playing all of the Gears games. We finally got to Gears 4, heard my tomatoes, and then we kept dying and had to hear it too many times. But that's besides the point.
All right. And lastly, since our dear friend Dylan couldn't be here today, Beefy sent me his thoughts on this movie. It is as follows. Dylan's review. From the studio that has given us other great shows like Legend of Korra, The Boondocks, and even the most recent Harley Quinn show, Studio Mir knocked this one out of the park. You have a beautifully animated movie with great sound design and choreography that gives us exposition prior to the books, games, and other shows about why further people hate Witchers. With an already likable character from the series in Vesemir that reminds us of why he is so likable, and with Geralt himself, as someone who is getting into the franchise slowly, this movie has lit a flame in me to explore the world more. I highly recommend watching this one as a good introduction to the Witcher franchise, as they even made a sister series that explains the beasts featured in each movie, even if you've never played the game. His final score is 10 out of 10.
It's a 30! We have the first perfect score, baby!
We have the perfect score for
we
one
found
of the
it,
best.
guys! We found it! It took us like 4 months. It took like 4 or 5 months. We got. Wait till he. Are we gonna? We gotta reach out to him after this and tell him, right?
Oh yeah, we have to tell him.
We have to tell him.
Lastly, so thank you everybody so much for watching this wonderful movie with us. If you didn't watch it by now, please go watch it. It's the only movie we've given a perfect score to.
It's gonna be in our thumbnail. It's gonna be. It's the golden movie right now. It's the one.
It's so
good. Man.
Beefy did as well send me what movie he's picking for next week.
Wonderful. I was struggling. I was like, I have to find a movie then? Okay.
Nah, you're good. Are you ready?
I am ready.
Next week's movie is Dragon Ball Z Broly, the legendary Super Saiyan.
Yeah!
All I heard is like muffled.
Yeah! I had a pillow, but it just, yes! Woo! Cue the SpongeBob at the celebration. Woo!
I forgot what game or something we were playing, but I was like, yeah, I'm really excited to pick this Witcher movie for us to watch. And then Dylan was like, yeah, we started talking about Dragon Ball, and I was like, I've never seen the original Broly movie. And he goes,
what?
Exactly.
I already know. What?
So that's what he's like. All right, we're watching that next week.
Oh man, there's a surprise for you. You're gonna be so excited. You're gonna understand the score, the sound for the OST to this movie.
All right. Well, we found the perfect 30 out of 30 movie. Now we're on the hunt for the triple.
Now we're on the hunt. Oh, I think you know what? The Legendary Super Saiyan Broly is such a great movie too, and it's shorter than it should have been. Damn it! But we're gonna get to it. We'll talk next time, guys. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.
30. Holy shit.